Howdy folks, Jamboree here, and welcome to the Christmas special episode of The Church of Tim Curry. Joining me is my co-host, Viva Becker.
Howdy folks, Viva Becker here.
Yeah,
welcome to the Christmas special.
Yeah, I think this is the second time you've tried to steal my greeting.
I'm not stealing it from you. I am
because of your uncreative abilities to come up with your own. Right. Right. Okay, so because it's the Christmas special, we are celebrating with a lot of drinks. What are you drinking, Viva?
I've got some very festive eggnog and brandy. It says on here you're supposed to mix in rum, but I don't care.
Oh, you should have
and
done. Rum's amazing.
Okay, well, what can I say? I didn't get it. I have cinnamon sticks. I've got cinnamon sticks, so it's really fancy over here.
But do the cinnamon sticks make you drunk?
No, but they make you feel better about getting drunk because you're so fancy. Okay, talk about your Malibu.
Yes, early on I had like a Malibu rum while watching the film we're about to review, but now I've got a lot of cans of gin. 2 kinds of flavors, rose lemonade and rhubarb and ginger. Right. Okay. So we're going to be talking about Home Alone 2.
It's Christmas time, and once again the McAllister family are planning on going on holiday. The family are late for their plane though, so they have to rush to their gate at the airport. But Kevin is distracted putting batteries into his Talkboy recorder and ends up getting on the wrong plane. This plane takes little Kevin to New York, but luckily he has his dad's bag with him, which means that he can use his father's credit card to book a hotel, which makes the hotel staff very suspicious. While in New York, Kevin bumps into the criminals from the first film, Marv and Harry, who plan on robbing a toy store at Christmas. It's up to Kevin to save the day from these bandits, with a little help from a homeless pigeon lady. Meanwhile, Kevin's family discover that Kevin is in New York and try their best to locate him.
Okay, what are your initial thoughts on Home Alone 2, Viva?
Well, first of all, I want to know if you've seen Home Alone 1.
Yes, multiple times.
Alright, so anybody who's seen Home Alone 1 has seen Home Alone 2.
Yes.
Those are my thoughts.
But
it's exactly the same as Home Alone 1, except for slightly worse.
That's what I was going to ask. That's the important thing to question is, yes, it's the same movie, but there are differences in location context. So, why would you say it's worse than the first one? These little minor changes, how would you think that they make it weaker than the first?
Yeah, so the minor changes that they make it more appealing to very young children, but then they make it less appealing to everybody else. Whereas I feel like the first one has pretty broad family appeal. The second one is like for people who are 5.
Okay, confession time. This film is one of my major guilty pleasures, and growing up, I enjoyed this one more than the first. Nowadays it's different, I appreciate the first more, but this movie is still one of my biggest guilty pleasures. And I totally get why kids love it so much, because I was in that position. It's the idea that you are living the dream, that you are empowered with a credit card and you can go to a New York hotel, you can go to toy stores, you can spoil yourself with room service. I feel as if the first hour is where it's the most colourful and most appealing to kids, and children again will resonate with it because they get to imagine themselves in Kevin's position and like spoiling themselves and shit. Not saying it's a good message or anything.
I was having fun with the first hour too.
Compared to the first hour, the second half is much darker and grittier. Not serious, but like it takes away a lot of the comfort that the first hour gives, because you see Kevin exploring a toy store, you see him eating ice cream, all that kind of stuff. And then in the second hour, he's walking through New York at night, and there's like intimidating, threatening people everywhere. And in the finale, instead of defending his home, he's defending his uncle and auntie's home, which is being renovated, which just happens to have a door that's unlocked. Just wanders in, and it's not as fun to see Kevin set traps in this building. Because the great thing about the first film is that he's being creative with what a suburban household can give him. And he can surprise you because you don't know how he's going to use things around the house and turn them into a trap. With a construction site, it's already dangerous, so it's not as impressive. You can take anything in a construction site and make it dangerous.
Also, was it me, or was it like at the end where the two bad guys are in the construction site? Like, it kind of seemed like they were doing everything they could to get hurt.
Yes.
As much as possible.
Yes. Well, that's a major issue with this film in general, is that it relies on a lot of forced coincidences and dumbing down characters, particularly the adults, in order for it to follow the formula of the first film.
So I feel like the first part of the film for me was really nice. I didn't have the childhood connection of watching the movie, but I really felt like the first part of the movie felt like my childhood in terms of it felt like the early 90s movies.
Oh, totally, yeah.
It felt like every kid's early 90s movie that I watched. And it felt actually, the very first scene felt a lot like the early Harry Potter movies because of the score.
Oh, it's John Williams, so.
Yeah, and it sounded like the Harry Potter Christmas score.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the movie, which is a good bulk of it, is just the traps in the house. That felt a lot to me like old school, like 60s cartoons, old school, like slapstick. But not live action slapstick. It felt like they were trying to do cartoon slapstick. And it was a little bit awkward because it was live action. So like there's a part where they try to do a bit where the two guys are like flattened against a wall by a heavy weight, and then they try to do the thing in cartoons where it's like the bad guy comes out from behind the weight and their whole body is like smushed and it's like flat.
They can only do their noses.
Yeah, they literally do the thing where they like pull themselves back into shape, and it's really weird because it's live action. But it definitely, they're trying to do cartoon slapstick. Yeah, it's like the hardcore stuff too. It's like the hardcore slapstick from the 60s where it's like these people would be dead like every couple seconds.
And I think the reason it doesn't work is because the rest of the film is nothing like that, really. I mean, like, its tone is incredibly whimsical, but it never breaks the boundaries too much of reality. But with this finale, it suddenly becomes very dependent on cartoon logic out of the blue. And I don't remember the house invasion in the first film being that cartoony either.
Yeah, I don't remember it being like that. I think they really toned it up a lot for this one.
Definitely, yeah. Again, it's like you said, they're trying to target much younger audiences, which doesn't really work when, like I said, the second half, the setting, the locations are so gritty. And they're trying to keep up this cartoon logic while also making everything look scary. And it's just this strange, jarring contrast that just doesn't add up for me. I mean, like, if you're going to do a cartoon logic, have it in a sillier kind of place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why they didn't keep it in the toy store.
Yeah, I thought that too. The toy store would have been really cool.
You would definitely mess up the toy store if you did that, but it would be more fun for kids to see it in the toy store, which was a really lush set that they had for the toy store.
Exactly, and like he could have used all the toys there in really inventive ways, turning the toys into traps. And the thing is, Mr. Duncan would have been at least a little forgiving because he would have defended the money at least.
Well, I'm not sure what they're trying to do with Mr. Duncan. Is he supposed to be like literally Santa Claus or something?
No, I didn't get that impression personally.
Well, why? How does he have the resources to basically give a literal truckload of free toys to Kevin's family at the end of the movie?
I have no idea.
Like, he gives away all of his money to the children's hospital, and then he gives them all of these free toys. I'm like, how is this guy just... His business is doing really well if he can do all this.
It probably is. I mean, like, that is a really sick toy store, so... he probably is doing a really good job of it. I don't know. I think it's most likely a way to push in a really happy ending and give our hero a reward. That's all I can think.
Let me just say something about the toy store for a second.
Sure.
I hate that toy store.
Really?
I wanted it to get as soon as I saw it because it has the sign. The sign is the worst sign. It says Toy Duncan's chest. And I'm like, okay, Toy Duncan's chest. I hate you and your sign.
Okay.
I hate it when people... And it would work maybe if the scroll was separate so you knew that you were supposed to read the kind of higher word first.
Yeah.
But it's painted as it's one scroll. So reading it the way that you would on the scroll, it says Toy Duncan's chest. Okay.
Okay, so they sell toy versions of Mr. Duncan's chest.
That sounds, that doesn't really sound as kid-friendly.
No, it does not at all.
Honestly, I don't think a lot of the logic in it was that realistic. Like, when, the two bad guys, what are their actual names? Because you just
Marv
watched
and
the movie.
Harry.
Yeah, okay. When Marv and Harry are at Toy Duncan's chest, and they're planning their thing, they're literally in two separate little playhouses. They're like 2 to 3 feet away from each other, and they're like loudly saying their plan in front of this packed toy store.
Yeah.
And
I think that's more dumb writing than cartoon logic.
dumb writing. Well, how about the part where Kevin scares Tim Curry out of the hotel shower with the obviously fake shadow that he made.
Dumb writing. That was a really
shower.
stupid scene.
The quality of the recording was amazing, and the recording that was played wasn't even what would have been recorded, because during that part at the beginning of the movie, Kevin was laughing right next to the recorder, so there would have been the sound of Kevin laughing.
Yes, I had a Talk Boy as well as a kid. The playback on that was not crystal clear at all.
Yeah, the whole movie was basically just an ad for whatever that thing was.
Talk Boy. I loved my Talk Boy as a kid. When they sold the Talk Boy, it had on one side, it came with a free tape, and on one side it played scenes from Home Alone 2, just little bites from the film. On the other side, you could record whatever you wanted on it, and you could also change the pitch, like Kevin does in the film.
Well, I'm glad that you had such a great childhood that you actually had toys, James. That's very... I'm very happy for you. Let me just go and cry into my brandy.
Right. So you weren't allowed a Talk Boy or a Talk Girl? Was that a big no-no?
The movie was also meant to sell Coke.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola. I saw like at least 3 big product placement ads for Coke.
And doesn't Fuller drink Coke throughout the film as well? I can't remember.
Who drinks Coke?
Kevin's cousin, the one in the glasses, played by Macaulay Culkin's brother Rory.
I didn't really like pay attention to any of the other like family kids. Honestly, I don't know why all those kids were there because, like, you don't know anything about them. You don't remember them.
No.
I don't even remember how many kids there were.
No. I think the only reason there's so many kids, and this applies to the first film as well, is so that the parents can find it more difficult to forget Kevin. That is the only reason they're there. The only kid that gets any development, really, is possibly Buzz and maybe Fuller, but their characters aren't really exactly, well-rounded.
To be fair, Buzz's character is a lot more well-rounded than it was in the first one. That's like one of the few improvements over the first movie. Buzz is better. In the first one, he was like your standard bully. In this one, he's like a slightly more interesting bully.
Yeah, and plus he has that moment in the finale where he thanks Kevin for getting the family all these rewards for his heroics. And says, hey,
and then
you can
he's
open,
like, Kevin,
you can
open the
present
first. And then Kevin doesn't open the first present. And then Buzz is just standing there waiting for him to open the fucking first present. And then he's like, okay, everybody dig in, because freaking Macaulay Culkin is just standing there not opening the first present.
Well, you were literally screaming at the screen going, open your fucking present!
No, I was just like, why isn't he opening the present? And then when he runs off, I was like, oh, well, it's real nice of them to let him open the first present. He never opens it, and by the time he gets back, all the other presents are probably going to be open anyway. How about how the message of the movie is supposed to be helping other people, but then at the end of the movie, like, Kevin basically tortures two guys, and then for Christmas, the homeless lady that he knows, he gives her like one little plastic turtle dove, and that's it. And then Mr. Duncan, he probably donates the money to the children's hospital, but then I feel like he could have donated more if he had the money to ship all of that stuff to Kevin's house. So it's like, who needs it more, Kevin's family or like the children's hospital at this point?
I'll defend the first two. So, remind me what the first two were again. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, okay.
The first one was Kevin torturing two guys.
Okay, to be fair, that was self-defense. He was...
Was it self-defense? I don't think so. I think the first one was self-defense.
Oh, definitely.
Because they were trying to break into his house. The second one was like, he's like, I'm going to go out and do something for people. So he lures the two guys out of the store and into this death trap. And at that point, it's beyond self-defense because he's sought them out and he's doing this to them. He lures them into his aunt and uncle's house by being like, oh, I'm so scared. And how convenient, by the way, is it that his aunt and uncle's house is on like the same street as the toy store, apparently, which is on the same street as like Central Park, apparently.
A lot of forced coincidences. Okay, but he is kind of technically defending evidence of the Wet Bandits' crime. And they have a gun.
Literally not his toy store. He knew of the plan. Why doesn't he just simply call the police instead of setting up all these traps?
That I'll
he
agree
could just be
with.
like,
That
hey,
I will agree
police, these guys are going to break into the toy store. Come down here with me. He had the time to, because he obviously had the time to set up all those traps.
Yeah. But then
He could have done the same thing without all the destruction of property and torturing two people.
I get you. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Marv and Harry, so I don't really mind them getting what they deserve, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, and you know it's for the movie, but at the same time, that's another thing that kind of takes the appeal away from the wider audiences, because if you're not like a kid, you can think, hey, this is not really as reasonable as it was in the first movie, where he was actually protecting himself.
In comparison, yes, totally.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a slight part of me that forgives him because it's Marv and Harry. If it was like someone harmless or someone not up to misdeeds, then yeah, I'd be like, that's fucked up.
Also, this is a part that really annoyed me, but Marv and Harry are on the street below, and Kevin is taunting them up above, and they're like, "Hey, Kevin, throw us the camera." I'm like, it's a Polaroid camera. It prints out the picture. He already has the pictures.
Yep.
If he throws you the camera, you're not going to get anything. Why do they want the camera?
Because they're dumb. That's all I've got. They're dumb. Most of the adults in this film are really fucking stupid.
That was, like, a lot of the dumb stuff they did felt like a choice. That didn't really feel like a choice. That felt like an accident, like somebody brought the wrong kind of camera to the set.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that we go back to the beginning of what you said. This film is a rehash of the first movie, so everything is designed to make sure that they are following the beats of the first film. So there's just a lot of strange contrivances and coincidences. And I feel like that's why the showdown at the end between Kevin and the Wet Bandits doesn't really add up. Because, like you said, could have contacted the police, but if he contacted the police, the film would be over, and they wouldn't be able to dedicate the rest of it to repeating what made the first movie so successful. And that's the thing.
The first like half hour of the movie, which is the part where they forget Kevin again, it's like rubbing in your face how it's going to be exactly the same as the first movie. Every 2 minutes, they're like, "Not this again. Oh, this is exactly what happened last year."
Yeah. I'll admit, even as someone that like guiltily loves this movie, that is something that really pees me off. It's so on the nose about that. I mean, like, if you're going to mimic the first movie, at least be a little naive about it. Because then the more you point it out, the more the audience goes, "Oh, hang on, yeah, it's the first movie all over again." Even Macaulay Culkin himself recently tweeted that he knew that he was just doing the same story again. Okay, so the gift for the homeless lady, yes, it's not got much value in terms of materialism, but that's not the point. It's a sentimental value. It's something that helps her to break her feeling of not being able to trust people, because that is her character arc throughout the movie. Is she's so afraid to befriend anyone ever again, because she's so scared of being heartbroken. And so the two doves that Kevin gives her at the end of the film,
he only gives her one dove.
Yes.
And he gives her the crappy one that doesn't have the little string on it.
Picky. Anyway, so gives her one dove and he keeps one dove, and that is a sign of friendship, and that is something that is most likely in the long term gonna help her evolve and change her life around. I don't know if it will after, but that's the sentiment, that's the message behind that. Yes, it's not like 100 quid or anything, but the thing is, this is after Kevin admits that he's done wrong by using his dad's credit card. So obviously he's not going to start using... And actually, yeah, the hotel clerk took away all of Kevin's money. No, just the credit card.
Don't make me try and do math. I don't know how much 100 quid is.
I don't know, but like, basically there's two reasons why Kevin wouldn't give money. Is first of all, this is a point where he's learned not to do bad things, because early on he said, "Yeah, I've been doing bad things, I should stop now." So obviously from that point he gives up. It's not the most natural and organic character growth, but it is the point where he decides, I'm not going to do any more misdeeds. I'm not going to use my dad's money. And at the same time, his credit card was taken away by the concierge. So he doesn't really have much to give. Perhaps he could have given one of the presents, but that's about it, really.
That would be like a toy, though.
Exactly. So I feel as if the two doves have more value in terms of story and sentiment. And that was the point of the two doves. Yes, they're not going to help her to, like, get off the streets, but it's something that helps her emotionally.
What if Kevin was like, all of my family and friends are here now, except for you. We bonded over this movie. We're now friends. Is there any way that, like, somehow he could be like, I don't want you to have, like, a lonely Christmas morning out here with just the birds.
Yeah.
And then he brings her back and they have Christmas morning together.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Not necessarily like a gift of money, but at that point the adults would kind of know the situation, and then they could probably handle it more gracefully than just being like, oh, here's all this money.
Yes.
Because I know that sometimes, that's not the best solution.
No.
For people.
I will admit that would have made for a very nice ending, but for me personally, the two doves is a very nice gesture that wraps up her character
You keep on
arc.
saying it's two doves. It's literally one dove.
It's two. It's two doves.
Well, she doesn't end up with two doves.
Yeah, no, it's one for her, one for him. That's two doves. Okay, fine. A lot of gin is in my system right now, okay? I've just clocked in how stupid I've been sounding. Okay, fine, whatever. By the way, this gin tastes like rhubarb and ginger, and it's delicious.
Oh yeah? Well, this cinnamon tastes like Christmas. Okay, Macaulay Culkin.
But,
I think he was very similar to the way that he was in the first movie, and I really can't complain about him, because one of the reasons that the first movie was so great was because of the casting on Kevin McAllister was so tight. It was, he's got a face like a little baby cherub, and he manages to say all of these lines that people think are funny, and he says them very straight, and it's what more could you want from it?
Hi.
Can I help you?
Reservation for McAllister?
A reservation for yourself?
Ma'am, my feet are hardly touching the ground. I'm barely able to look over this counter. How could I make a reservation for a hotel room? Think about it. A kid going into a hotel, making a reservation? I don't think so.
I totally agree. I don't think there's anything I can really add to that. He's not the most natural of actors, but...
It's not really supposed to be natural, though. That's what makes it funny.
Yes, exactly.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I think that's what John Hughes saw in him, and that's why he liked to cast him so much, was that he could be very deadpan. But when it comes to more dramatic moments with, like, his mum or with the pigeon lady, there were certain lines that you kind of like,
If you aren't going to use your heart, then what's the difference if it gets broken? If you just keep it to yourself, maybe it'll be like my rollerblades. When you do decide to try it, it won't be any good.
But again, in terms of child actor standards, he does a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah, the only really infuriating thing was how slowly he put in that goddamn battery.
Now, you can do it on the plane!
Yeah, the conflict could have been a little bit better, but at the same time, he's supposed to be like 2, so.
No, don't exaggerate. I think he's like probably 11 or 12 by now. I don't know.
Is he?
I don't know. Somebody Google. Did I say somebody? Did I feel
You
like we were
Google it.
live right now? We are not live right now. Okay.
You Google it. Just cut
I don't
out
know
the
where
time
my
when you're
phone's
Googling.
gone. Oh, I'm in front of a computer. Shut up!
Yeah.
This is a.
My God.
It's been a while since I've. No, it hasn't been a while since I drank. That's a terrible excuse. Right, Macaulay Culkin. Okay, he's currently 38 years old. Wow. Okay. How old would he have been? So he was born 26th of August 1980. Home Alone 2 came out 11th December 1992. 12! He was 12! Fucking 2.
12. Wow, they look younger and younger every year.
Yeah, okay. 12 is not... At 12 years old, you don't do stupid things like prolong the moment you need to board a plane to put batteries in your talk boy. I mean, like, I love my talk boy as a kid, but I didn't think, like,
Literally,
okay...
it was only one battery that he had to put into.
Yes! Stupid little 12-year-old!
Oh man, isn't that just adorable though? My goodness, kids, they just get into so much trouble.
It's just a really dumb reason for him to not board the plane. Like, okay, let's make this interesting. Let's come up with alternatives. What could have Macaulay Culkin done instead of putting batteries in his tall boy that would have been reasonable for him to be delayed on that plane?
He could have, I mean, they could have not done the whole thing where he had to be delayed, and he could have just had, like, a big crowd push past really quickly, and then there were the two guys that looked like his dad from behind, and he could have just followed the wrong one. He didn't have to be super delayed.
Yes, I have one. Probably not great, but what if in the airport was the first time that he saw Marv and Harry, and they held him back by gun and so they were going to shoot him. I know it's fucking stupid because it's a public airport, but Marv and Harry are not exactly the brightest criminals.
But why? How would, like, Marv and Harry... what would the chances be that Marv and Harry, like, are at the airport and then they end up going to New York?
True. It's dumb. Told you it'd be dumb.
I mean, you know what would be really funny? They do that, and then they see Macaulay Culkin get on the wrong plane, and then they both dress up as stewardesses, which is something that really little kids would love. And then throughout the plane ride to New York, you get to see Macaulay Culkin worming out of the clutches of Marv and Harry dressed up as stewardesses.
Exactly. And it would have made Marv and Harry like an even more interesting threat. Because they are the ones that...
it would have explained how they showed up to New York, too.
Sorry?
It would have explained how they showed up to New York. Because they would have had to have seen where Macaulay Culkin was going and then know to go to New York.
Exactly, yeah. Okay. Most important topic. Tim Curry as the concierge.
Honestly, underused. And he wasn't even, like, the lines they gave him weren't even that funny in this one.
I disagree. I agree that he was underused, but that I believe that whenever he's not cast in the position of protagonist or antagonist. But I do feel like he gets quite a few good lines, like, I love you.
Get down on your knees and tell me you love me. On your knees? I love you.
I thought what was the other lady, like the receptionist lady? Honestly, I kind of thought she was funnier than Tim Curry in this one.
I think they're all equally funny except for Rob Schneider.
Okay, has Rob Schneider ever been funny?
Exactly.
Has he ever been funny?
But I love the I love you scene. I love the transition of the Grinch to his face, because then that makes me dream even more that Tim Curry once played the Grinch. It would have been ideal. But yeah, Tim Curry's concierge, I definitely agree that he could have been in the film more, but that wouldn't have really made sense because he has to stay in the hotel, and Kevin is outside the hotel for the second half. But you do get to see the concierge again when the parents visit the hotel. So
why didn't they make Tim Curry like the driver, and then he could start getting suspicious as he's driving Macaulay Culkin around, and he can like follow him into the store?
Maybe, but I really like him as the concierge. I just think
I mean, honestly, he's in like 3 scenes though, so.
Yes, but in all those scenes, I find him really charming and funny. But yeah, I what I like about him is what he brings to that role. On paper, it's probably not that great, but the way he delivers lines, the way he rolls his eyes at certain things or responds, I think he makes it funny.
I agree that it was funny. It's just not like one of my favorite Tim Curry performances.
No.
I still feel like the lady was funnier. Like, because basically what the two of them were doing was being funny by how crazy their expressions got. And I feel like Tim Curry's expressions got pretty crazy, but like that lady had those crazy eyes.
Yes, yeah, I get you. I totally get you. But yeah, I definitely will admit that it is not one of his best performances, but considering the material he was given, I think he went above and beyond, considering what little there was to work with. And I could replay the scene where he goes, "I love you," again and again, because it's just, I just love it. I just love the way he says it.
The fact that anybody ever in any of those movies gets tricked by that thing.
Oh, well, here's my annoyance, right? Okay, I can buy that maybe Marv and Harry fell for that film in the first movie. Okay, fine, those two have not seen that movie. But for a small group of people there, in a hotel that has that movie as one of their options within their video library, no, I don't buy that. I do not buy that whatsoever. At least one of them has to be like, hey, hang on, this is that Dirty Angels movie. He's just playing the Dirty Angels movie in the other room. And the thing is as well, he doesn't even use firecrackers like in the first movie. That would have maybe sold it a little bit better. But just plays the film.
He does use firecrackers at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but not when he's playing not when he's like shooting the Tommy gun.
Yeah.
That's what would have sold it.
Just the sound quality on TVs was not that good.
No, especially back then. Basically, if you're over the age of 12 in this movie, your IQ is dumbed down to 12.
Honestly, I don't even know why the bird lady was there. The only reason she was there was to get Kevin to do something for other people. I feel like. Because the only thing that she actually contributes to moving the story forward is being like, Kevin, you got to do something for other people tonight.
And she does help out with like throwing seeds on Marv and Harry in that scene towards the end, which for some reason all the pigeons knock them down and Marv and Harry can't get up. They're just pigeons. They're just fucking pigeons.
Yeah, but I feel like they just do that to bring her back. Another thing, the very end part where he is like apologizing to the Christmas tree and he's like, I want to see my family again, rings super hollow because that's literally exactly what he said.
Exactly.
In
Yes.
Home Alone 1.
Totally
and
agree
this is
with
the
that.
next year and he's forgotten the whole thing, so it's like he's not going to remember.
Yeah, it almost kills the sentiment of the first movie's conclusion. It's because like he's not grown.
How weird is it also that in the Florida motel that the family stays in, there's like an ad for adult films.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, there's a sign that was like adult films, and I'm like, oh, whoa.
Okay. But going back to the pigeon lady, for me, even though she wasn't like the greatest character, I thought that her actress, Brendan Fricker, who's like...
Did you say Brendan Fraser? That's crazy.
No, Brenda
Brenda
Fricker. Brenda Fricker. She's an Irish actress, very talented, and I thought she brought a lot of poignancy and gravitas to the pigeon lady.
People pass me in the street. They see me, but they try to ignore me. They prefer I wasn't part of their city.
Yeah, it's sort of like that with my family. I'm kind of the pigeon of the house, just because I'm the youngest.
Everyone fights for position.
Would the pigeon lady have been better played by her or played by Brendan Fraser?
Oh my god. I want this cut. I want this cut now.
I mean, I agree that the actress in the movie was very, had a very charming quality.
But now I can't shake off the image of Brendan Fraser wearing the Pigeon Lady clothes in that role, and it's just beautiful, and I want to see that. And I'm gonna be I'm gonna be continually disappointed in life that it's not gonna come into fruition unless we start a Kickstarter.
I mean, do you really want him in the clothes? Because you could compromise with the original Pigeon Lady actress, and then Brendan Fraser could just play all the pigeons.
I like them. I like both ideas, because, yeah, like green screen, a bunch of Brendan Frasers that are dressed as pigeons. But, like, really shitty, like, Halloween costume level pigeon outfits.
I mean, would they be original Brendan Fraser size, or would they be, like, shrunk down to pigeon size?
Brendan Fraser size. Yes. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
please. Yes. I want...
What if it was a mix? There could be, like, the ones that are on the Pigeon Lady can be
Oh, my God.
pigeon size.
I'm loving this film. No. What if Brendan is just the Pigeon Lady too? And that's gonna bring a new level of depth to the movie, because it's like the pigeons are part of the Pigeon Lady.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're already in the film. Obviously, they were already supposed to be a metaphor.
Yes, I like this cut. Anyway, back to my original point. What are your final thoughts?
Okay, this is my strategy for this movie, okay? Christmas morning, after the kids have woken you up at 4 o'clock and they've opened their presents, right? You put this movie on for them. You have a bit of a lie-in, another like 2-hour lie-in, so you're waking up at a more normal time. And then, in the evening, after the families come over for Christmas dinner, that's when you put on the first one for everybody to watch.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I think
I
I think the second Home Alone movie is, I think it's decent, and I think that kids would really like it. And I don't have a quarrel with it. I just don't think that it's as widely appealing as the first one.
Okay, cool. Rating?
6 out of 10.
I consider Home Alone 2 to be a guilty pleasure of mine, especially its first hour, but I will admit that it's pretty much a contrived clone of the first movie, a film that forces conveniences and dumbs down its characters just so it can copy its predecessor beat for beat. There's some wholesome magic here with its sweet side characters like the Pigeon Lady and the toy shop owner Mr. Duncan, but it's still a very cynical movie. Kids will totally love it. I know this because I did as a child, but from an objective, critical perspective, it's an uncreative cash cow that'll alienate older fans of the first film. I'm going to give this movie a rating of 6 out of 10.
This has been the Christmas special episode of the Church of Tim Curry. All hail Tim Curry. And I do have that as a shirt. And I wear it every birthday. So, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And
Now,
yeah,
see,
Merry
I'm
Christmas.
gonna do the outro except for better than you, because I'm gonna say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. This has been the Church of Tim Curry. All hail Tim Curry. And I do have that as a shirt. I wear it every birthday.
No, you don't!
Birthday. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and Happy Holidays.
Look, I appreciate the lengths you've gone to make sure that this was a more inclusive wrap-up, but don't steal my identity. You did it at the beginning, and now you're doing it at the end.
I'm just doing.
Okay, there's only
I'm
one
doing your
Jamboree
bit,
key.
except for better than you.
Oh, Brendan Fraser and pigeons, attack!
Okay, bye.